All right, all right. Phenomenal morning, guys. Phenomenal morning. Listen, I'm extremely excited today. I'm extremely excited today, Bobby. I don't know. I woke up early, man. I got that energy, man. I used to love this day. I don't know. Maybe it's because I used to eat a lot of candy, man.
Yeah.
Talk to me, Bobby. How you feeling this morning, man? I know we've been going back and forth in the chat a little bit. We already up, already crispy. Listen, phenomenal morning, everybody. Right? Shade is on early. Lawana's on early. Let's go. Brooklyn, New York is in the building. Come on, guys. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. What is your energy like? What's the energy like? What's the pulse in the room?
That's amazing. That's amazing. Over here, it's 1,000. Can it be 1,000? Like, can it be 1,000? It's 1,000 this morning, and it's 1,000 for me because habits. What do they say? Bad habits are hard to break. That's what they say.
Mm,
Good habits are hard to make. Think that's what.
mm,
And today, oh, I felt the gravitational pull, and I felt a habit trying to pull it. It was like, nah, that's not what we do. It's not what we do. It's not a part of the brand. Sleeping in could be a habit, guys. Like sleeping in, that's a habit that you can find bad for you. So I was reading a book, and it said, it says something along the lines. I'm paraphrasing, but it was like, people can try to break the rules only to realize that they will break themselves against the rule. In other
mm.
words, truth, real rules like success is a process, like that's a rule of success. You can try to break the rule, but you're just going to break you against the process, against the rule. Like there's no way to make that happen. So I leveraged that this morning when I was battling. I was like, I could feel the tendency. I was like, nah, it's not in alignment. And then I started speaking the truth over the reality. I'm like, okay, I got to neutral. Like, what's the reality? A, B, C, D.
Hmm.
I don't have any options. I don't have any options. And when I realized I didn't have any options, I got to the get to, and I got it done.
Very good, very good. So a couple words just came to my mind. Applied faith, right? Applied faith. A lot of people have faith. A lot of people talk about faith and talk about belief. It's one thing to have faith, it's one thing to apply faith, right? And it's easy because when someone really has faith, you can see it, like they're driving. Faith without works is dead, right? So it's not about hope. Hope is not a strategy. Hope is not a strategy. I'll say it one third time. Hope is not a strategy, right? You got to have faith and then you got to get to the work of it. You got to work the faith. You have to apply the faith, right? I had faith that I could graduate from college. I had faith that I could be successful, but if I didn't apply the faith, if I didn't apply to college, I wouldn't be a graduate. It would all still be just in my mind, right? So a lot of people they have figments of imagination, but those figments of imagination are not established in reality. So we got to get grounded. We got to remember the fundamentals. And before we go to a break, I wanted to bring up the banner that we were going to use today, right? Because we kind of went heavy on the last two yesterday. Yesterday, we had two main points. Those main points was there's as much value out there as there is in you. Real quick recap. There's as much value out there as there is in you. Listen, people have jobs, full day jobs, Bobby. When I learned this, I was amazed. When I learned this fact, I was amazed. I said, people have jobs burning money? I said, people have jobs burning money? Yeah. Fort Knox, they burn money. They just burn money. There's full-time jobs. You can get over hours and extra time on the job, OT and all of that. They just burn money that have gone out of circulation. So what does that mean? Not only is there an abundance, but there's an overabundance. There's an oversupply of money, cash being burnt daily. Money goes out of circulation. It becomes old tinder. And it goes up in smoke, which means you can't get as much as you want. When I learned that, it was game over for me. I said, oh my God, okay, there's no limited amount. There's no limited amount, which means I can have as much as I want. Straight to the moon after that. So there's as much value out there as there is in you. If there's a lack or a shortage, There's not a lack or shortage in the world supply. There's a lack or a shortage in your heart supply, in your applied faith supply.
Mm.
And then you are the brand and you are the bridge. We talked about you being the brand and your brand being you being a bridge. So we talked about the George Washington Bridge. We talked about the Brooklyn Bridge. We talked about Queens Bridge. You don't have to be a bridge to take a person from New York to New Jersey, but you do have to be a bridge. I said, if you're not a bridge, just walk somebody across the street, for God's sake, right? Start small. Start small. Hop over a puddle. I remember LL Cool J said, I lay down my jacket so you could walk over a puddle. Be a bridge for somebody, guys. Be a bridge. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about making yourself known. How do you make yourself known? And how important is it that you make yourself known? Bobby, I'm excited, man. We're going to be right back. Let's grow. This is The Breakfast with the Brand. I am your host, Shaan Rais. We are here with the phenomenal Bobby Jackson, and we will be right back. Let's grow. It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just a very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. I said Shaan Rais. I'm proud. I said Shaan Rais. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Shaan, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. What say ye?
Man, as soon as I saw the banner, I got the writing. I got the writing. And before I go into what I was writing down, I just want to shout out Jordan Knox. Way to take action on an insight. I don't remember what it was, but I know it was PMX, something like that. And you were told, hey, it might be better if you go ahead and lean into that name, taking ownership of who you are, what you represent by branding you. And I feel like you took that clearly, you executed on it, and I can only see things improving from there, because that's really all it is executing on things. So I just wanted to shout you out there, Mr. Knox. As far as the writing, what I got the writing down was one of the things that I struggled with when it came to making myself known. Oh, I'm gonna give you guys some transparency this morning, but it's gonna be good. It's gonna be nice and good. Like, for me, I didn't know who I was. For one, I didn't know who I was. Number two, I didn't really like myself. And then number three, I didn't fully respect everything that I would do. So I want to phrase this to you all as a question. Do you know who you are? Do you like who you are? And do you respect yourself? See, if we don't do those things, if we don't like ourselves, we hide ourselves. If we don't respect ourselves, we hide ourselves. And if we don't know who we are, we don't really like other people to tell us who we are. Like, we don't like someone to say, this is who you are. And it's like they're seeing you. They're just a mirror. They're not trying to control you. They're like, this is who you are. I think it was Aristotle who said that character is nothing more than your habitual activity, right? That's all it is. That all character is what you do regularly. So I thought that this banner specifically was going to be a great topic because a lot of business owners, I believe, hold their businesses back simply because they haven't written that brand story like we did in Brand You, or no, it was Branded Like a Leader. You know, I think that was week 1 potentially when we were writing out that brand story.
That was actually the pre-frame, Bobby. That was before week 1. That was the pre-frame. Yeah.
Crazy. So that was my piece on that, coach. It's like, it's if you want to really brand you and not what you do, you got to take a strong look in the mirror and then answer those 3 questions. And if you find out that you don't know who you are, start that journey. If you find out that you don't like who you are, that's okay. Own that. Like, okay, I don't like that about myself. How can I start changing this? And if you don't respect who you are, there's not the end of the world. That's a good place to be like, I don't respect that about me. Why don't I respect that about me? What do I want to change about me? And then go on that process, and you'll find that it's a lot easier to put yourself out there when you like who you are.
Listen, guys. That's super transparent, right? What I'm gonna say is you can renew your history if you don't like yourself. You have the ability to renew your history. Be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind. That's a fact. That's a fact. So I tell everybody my story. You guys know it already. You know, I'm just a kid from Harlem who, God chose to show his favor and mercy through. And I was always given the mercy. Let me say that. I was always given the mercy, always given the grace, even if I didn't understand what was going on around me. So a lot of us, we go through things, broken homes, fatherless homes, poverty at the moment because our parents they're not able to tap into the surplus, right? Lack of identity, not really knowing who we are, like Bobby said, not knowing who we are, what we're doing, what the world looks like, who's responsible for what, and what our role is in it. That was kind of me, mixed up, discombobulated, and not understanding what was going on. So again, I made some wrong decisions, got some consequences I didn't like, and I was kind of under the radar, what they call it, obscurity. Sometimes it's better. My father said this. He said, it's better to have people perceive you as a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. He was harsh, brother. I promise you. He ain't cut no corners. He said, it's better to have people perceive you as a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. And there was a time in my life where all of my moves painted me as a fool. Like they went wrong. They went left. My investments didn't pan out. I could not see success at all in any area whatsoever. I said, wow, I'm really like I'm losing right now. Like I'm losing a lot. I just need to shut up. I just need to shut up, be quiet. I need to play it low. Like don't make any noise. So there was a time when I didn't like my results. Let me say that. I loved myself, but I didn't like my results. I didn't show up on paper as the right person. But then, as I always say, God sent me a woman. he sent me a woman. He sent me the right woman too, brother. And, at that time, it was like, okay, now shift it. If you're going to be with this woman, if you're going to take care of this woman, if you're going to be the provider and the protector of this woman that's been entrusted to your protection and your providence, you need to make yourself known. You can't hide anymore. You can't hide anymore. You have to make yourself known. You have to get the job. You have to start the business. You have to do the things that providers do. To be a provider, guys, you got to do the things that providers do. To be a speaker, you have to do the things that speakers do. To be a coach, you have to be the things that coaches do. To be a business owner, you have to do the things that business owners do. So what did I first do? I said, okay, well, I gotta renew and undo some prior mistakes. Guys, let me tell you something. This is not my first time in college. I'm in college now. I've been in college for the past 10 years, but this is not my first time. I went to college before, but I left. I want you to write something down. What have I started and not finished? What have you started and not finished? See, I started school. I was young. I was starting at the cusp. I was right on time. But then I left. And watch this. After leaving, I had to go right back to the beginning, guys. I tried to fast forward the process, Bobby. Right? I tried to just skip the process, like you said, just skip the process and get to the penthouse. And they said, nah, you got to go back to square one. How do they say it in Monopoly? Go back. Back to go. Go back. I had to go back to reintroduce myself to the world, to make myself known. So what I'm saying to you guys is forget about the mistakes that you made. It's okay. You can make mistakes. You can renew your future. You might not be able to renew your history, but you can renew your future. And that's what I did. I went back to school and I had to finish some things. And look, I haven't left yet. And humbly I state that it's looking good. It turned out pretty good for the past 10 years that I've been in college. Right? We got 3 master's degrees now, 3 books now. That's because I made a decision to make myself known. Make a decision to make yourself known, and I guarantee you that your life will never be the same.
Wow. Yeah, I think that this is a great direction to go in, because sometimes it can be interesting as we're making ourselves known, as we're coming and going through the process, that we discover ourselves at the same time. And that's something that I think it's delicate, or it's not as bold as it sounds. So please pay attention to what I'm saying. As you make yourself known, what you're going to do is you're going to put yourself out there. And when you put yourself out there, people are going to judge you. And judgment doesn't have to be a bad thing, but they're looking at you. They're watching. They want to make sure that you're congruent. You're going to say things, and you're not going to always do the things you say. You're going to do things, and you're going to do things that you never told people you were going to do. And what you're going to realize as spouses, kids, church members, community, the marketplace, all of these people are talking to you and quote unquote telling you about yourself. They're really helping you. They're helping you. They're telling you what you're not and what you are. It's what I like to call feedback. And when we don't put ourselves out there, we don't get feedback. And when you try to build yourself, so to speak, inside of a silo, you're building yourself for you. And what I've learned is that we're most valuable when we can help other people. You know, like a guy that walks around, only looks out for themselves, only knows what they need to know to take care of themselves. I'm not saying they're not a valuable person, but I'm saying if you were to look at them, how would you constitute their value? Like, do they give value to the world? Do they give value to their family? Do they give value to their community, or just to themselves? And if they only give value to themselves, then some people might not constitute that as an extremely valuable life. So what am I saying? I'm saying that putting ourselves out there is such a process. It's a process because it was in, what book was it? Think and Grow Rich, where Napoleon Hill talks about one of the main causes of failure. And one of them was a fear of criticism. I think he calls it the 6 fears. And one of the 6 fears was the fear of criticism. And when it comes to putting yourself out there, guys, the fear of criticism, it'll do a number on you. So I just wanted to say this piece to encourage you is that when was the last time you were criticized? When was the last time you was criticized? When was the last time someone pulled you to the side and said, how dare you do this? How dare you? You know, and the good thing about this how dare you situation is it forces you to confront yourself. It forces you to evaluate your paradigm or your perspective. Paradigm is just another word for perspective. So when you do something that seems to be out of the ordinary or people don't understand, and they come to you and they say, why'd you do it? You have to, in some instances, come up with an answer. And when you come up with that answer, it's going to reveal to you who you are and why you're doing it. So I want to say lean in. That's my piece on that, Coach. My response is as you go through the process, lean into it. Lean into the criticism, lean into the people telling you about yourself, lean into all of those things that seem very uncomfortable because they're really the feedback you need to refine. They're like a guide.
Man, let me tell you something, Bobby. That's good. That was good. Guys, wasn't that good? That was good. That was real good because, you know, I'm just going to write that down real quick so I don't lose my train of thought. You said lean in. You said lean into the criticism. Lean into the criticism. Guys, share this out real quick, right? Take the moment to just share this out to your feed. Be the bridge for your followers. Be the bridge for them. We're not going to embarrass you. That's a fact. We're not going to make you wish you didn't share this out. Share this out to your followers and let them come back and thank you and start a dialogue with you on how they can make themselves known. So anyway, I went to college, jumped back into the secular, you know, situation of the world and realized that I wasn't that bad after all. I realized that I wasn't that, you know, you'll find yourself, you'll be like, okay, I made some mistakes, but I like myself. You know, I made some mistakes, but it's okay. Like you can undo this. So watch this. When I started going to school, people said, don't do it. Understand me. I'm past 30 years old and people are like, why are you going back to college? Like, nah, that's over. Like kids do that, man. Like if it wasn't easy for you as a kid, like I hated school, just so everybody's clear. Like I won't say I hated school. I hated school with a passion. But now I had a purpose. Do you understand? My whys weren't whys anymore. My whys was my wife. My whys were my children. My whys became whose. So where I hated school with the passion, now I had a purpose. Guys, if you're watching us right now, it's because you got a purpose. You're not on this call just because. You're not on this call because you like Sean Bryant East and Bobby Jackson that much. It's not about us. It's about you and what you're trying to get from it. And what I'm telling you is when you transfer your passion for a purpose or when you compound your purpose with passion, that's when it changes. That's when it changes. I didn't just go to school. I went to school with a purpose. I didn't just go to work. I went to work with a purpose. And that's why I accelerated and surpassed people who had been there for 20 years. They've been working on their careers for 20 years, Bobby. They've been working on their careers for 20 years, and they're in a specific position. I come in the door yesterday, fly past them today. Why? Because I'm lit. I'm ignited. I'm accelerated. I'm passionate. I'm on purpose. I'm in purpose and on purpose. And no one can stop you if you're in purpose and on purpose. Listen, when you are convicted, no one can talk you out of it. And I can remember, right? I can remember so many different things. I can remember going to my old neighborhoods and people not knowing who I was. And when I say my old neighborhoods, I mean my old haunts. People who knew me very well, saw me. I remember one person in particular, one situation in particular, one of my old friends too. He saw me in Harlem, and he had a beer in his hand. And he coming up the block, and he sees me standing by my car. And I had a black Impala at the time. A black Impala, it's like 2015. Right? A couple of years ago, but I just happened to be in that neighborhood and he's coming up the block with a beer in his hand and he saw me and he was like, you could tell by his face, he was just like, because he's walking in my direction. I'm standing right there and I know him. So I'm standing out to see him. And he's walking up to me and he's like nervous. Like, oh man, what is this? Right? He looked like he wanted to drop the beer. But he keeps walking and he's like, yo, I know you. And I'm like I'm laughing, like, yeah, you do. He's like, nah, I know you. Like, I'm like, yeah, you do. Like, Shaan? I said, yeah. He said, Shaan, oh my God. He said, yo, Shaan, you look good, bro. You know what he said to me? He said, I thought you were the people's. He said, I thought you were the people's. I was ready to throw the beer down and run. I thought you were the people's. Guys, listen to me very clearly. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about you. When you renew your mind, when you renew your faith, when you renew your habits, when you renew your practice, people that you think will remember you for the old person that you were will not even remember you. You will be made new completely. You will be transformed by the renewal of your mind. You got to make yourself known, though. You can't be a secret. The best kept secret doesn't work in business. The best kept secret doesn't work. You got to go from being the best kept secret to the only viable option. The only viable option in your vertical. That's right. The only viable. You can go from what we call the BKS to the OVO. You can grow. You can go from the BKS to the only viable option. I guarantee you there's a lot of people that know who I was and know who I am. People follow me right now and don't make the connection. They don't make the connection, brother. I promise you. We just did a documentary where I'm in Harlem walking around and people are like, who's that? Who's that? And I introduced myself to the people that I know. You know, the people that I knew then because they hadn't left. A couple of them never left. And when I introduced myself to one of the people that I knew since I was 14, he was like, are you running for office, Shaan? He thought I was a politician.
Yeah.
He thought I was a politician. Guys, make yourself known. I promise you, the best life that you could possibly imagine is on the other side of making yourself known, taking risk. Taking risk. The fear of being criticized. I'll tell you one more story before we go, because Les Brown told me never make a story, never tell a story without having a point, and never make a point without telling a story. I knew when I was destined for more. This is when I knew that I was destined for more. You're very welcome. I'm so glad that you're inspired and motivated. Look at this. Let me put that up there real quick. You're very welcome. I'm so glad that you're inspired and motivated, and I'm glad that you love it. We love your presence. Thank you very much. I remember when I got the first job offer, north of $50,000. First job offer, north of 50. I told my mother, it was about 60, 65K, right? And I was lower than that. I was lower than 50. So it was about 15K, maybe 20K added to the salary, right? I told my mother because I'm happy. You know, I'm happy and I'm not really sure. So I said, hold on, let me just show her, because I'm so proud. I'm so proud. I'm like, oh my God, I done made good. I done changed myself. I done made myself known. And not only am I accepted, but I'm desired. Hear me clearly, guys. You'll go from being accepted to being desired. You don't know what's on the other side of making yourself known. So I make myself known. I get a job offer. I take it to my mother, and my mother's nervous. She's scared. I mean, when I say she's scared. Now, my mother had a associate's degree, I believe. I know she was in college, but she never made north of $30,000 with overtime. So she probably had like 25K, and then with all of her overtime, she might have made 30. And she worked downtown too. Downtown New York, Manhattan, right? So when I showed this to her, she thought that I should stay where I was because she said it was safe. She said, I just want you to be safe. I just want you to be safe. I just want you to stay where you're at because it's comfortable now. She said something that tickles me to this day. She said, why would somebody pay somebody that much money? And to me, I guarantee you guys, when it came to my goals, that was no money as far as my goals are concerned. as far as my vision was concerned. It was no revenue. We've added multiple zeros behind that number over and over again. We make a multiple of that monthly. You understand? So for her to say that, it showed like where she was generationally, and it showed me where I was headed generationally. But I had to make a decision, guys. You're in a place right now where you got to make a decision. Everybody on this call, listen to this call. #replay squad. If you're watching this at a later time, #replay squad. You got a decision to make. Everybody listen to this call. I got decisions. Bobby got decisions. We all got decisions to make. I had a decision to make in that time. To take the risk, make the jump, leave security, leave the known premise, leave the known and the comfortable for the unknown and uncertain and uncomfortable. And that's why I did. And that's why we're here. Bobby, that's why we here. That's why we here. Because I said, you know what? I'm jumping. Took off the parachute, said, let's go. I bet I got wings under this jacket.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know we're going to a break, and I just wanted to say I had a conversation with someone yesterday, and we were talking about my situation versus their situation, and we had a laugh at the end of it. And really briefly, I just want to kind of talk a little bit about just jumping out there and doing what you have to do. It's something surreal about what pressure produces. I'll say that again. There is something surreal about what pressure produces. And I was talking to a gentleman, and they were like, you know, with my current responsibilities, I'm going to take this particular route. And I said, I understand and respect it. And I told him the route that I took, and he just laughed. He said, you did what? You were how close to retirement? How many kids did you have? How many were on the way? I said, I have 4. 1 was on the way. I was 11 years in, 9 years from retirement. The business was growing, but it wasn't fully set, and I was gone. And the amount of pressure that was put on me for 3 consecutive years produced 400% revenue growth for 3 consecutive years. So when you're getting ready to put yourself out there and you're getting ready to take that risk, stand by for the pressure. It's cool. It's okay. But as my coach would say, the water's fine. I'm going to take you out here to the deep end. The water's fine. And you'll swim. Well, I'll say it like this. You can swim. If I can swim, you can swim. If Shaan can swim, you can swim. You're capable. You just have to really decide. Oh, and that was a tough one for me too. Decide. Do you want to get to the other side of this pool? But that was my piece, Coach. I really love the direction that this gone in. And when we get back, I got some things that I wrote down.
Very good. Very good, guys. Listen, get ready. You got wings. You have wings. Make yourself known. Don't be afraid. You have wings. Do something today. You got a leap to make, a decision to make. It requires a definiteness of purpose. I guarantee you, you got wings under that jacket. Let's grow. Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Shaan's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Shaan is the bomb.
I don't talk theory. I don't talk hyperbole. I don't talk opinion. Nothing I talk is anything but evidence-based.
During the G-Circle retreat in Atlanta, I had the pleasure and the honor of listening to Mr. Shaan Rais. He will not only impact your organization, but he will elevate your team to another level.
When you change you, when you put you into the equation, the whole system is different. I guarantee you, you got the right thing. You are the right person. If you can present yourself in the best way possible, there's no negotiation.
His energy is infectious, and I have so many takeaways from the presentation that I can't wait to get started and implement them today to see the result.
The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaways just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
Man, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are back. And I just want to shout out all of the individuals that came. As we're sharing this platform out, I can see a lot of individuals that show up and represent for what we do on the Flawless Finance side here. Amanda Brake here. I got Mary here. We got Maurice here. Go ahead and share this out on your platforms, guys. I do appreciate you all supporting me, everything that we're doing on our side, supporting Breakfast with the Brand, everything we're doing on this side. There's so much value to be passed around, to be shared with the people. So thank you all for coming out this morning, and continue to share this out. Continue to support the movement because it's important. It really is. And what I wrote down here as we were talking about making yourself known, you know, you have wings. I wrote down, and I'm going to share two stories with you guys, but I wrote down, you need the right corner. You need the right corner. And when I talk about corner, I mean a boxing corner. When someone's boxing and the round is over, they go back to a corner. And depending on how they're doing in the ring is going to depend on what the coach says to them. I'm never going to tell you to quit. I'm never going to tell you to quit. And sometimes we can have individuals in our corner that don't really have the same tenacity that we do. They don't have the same velocity, the same vigor and vision. And you don't really want to have that there because it makes the process of becoming, the process of getting to where you're trying to go harder than it has to be. So here's the story. So my wife received an insight from a married lady about how to handle marriage. So me and my wife have been growing, developing. We've got 5 kids. We've got dreams, ambitions. And anyone that's ever been married knows that it's difficult. But anyone that respects marriage also knows that it's a death do us part deal. So this wisdom that this lady gave was profound. And I want to preface one more thing before I give you all this story and the wisdom. I want to say that it's a process. How to embrace the process. Everybody says trust the process. It's said so much that it's become cliche, but when you're making yourself known, when you're getting out there, when you're becoming the person, becoming the high net worth individual so that you can live a high net worth life full of grace and freedom and impact and independence. Like when you're becoming that person, you must embrace a process. So I'm about to share with you what this process can look like and the type of people you want to have in your corner, because if it had not been for my coach, I'm not too sure how I would have navigated this stuff. But here's what the lady said. The lady said, there may come a time in your marriage where you feel like your husband's not listening. Your prayers are going unanswered. And the 2 men of your life, the loves of your lives, the masculine identities in your life are at war. And what she was saying was, sometimes God, so to speak, and this was the story, will beat up on your husband. And your husband will fight back. And as a wife, you'll be in the middle, watching the quarrel. You want your husband to do right. You want him to just live well. And you want God to bless you guys. You want things to go nice. You want things to be good. And there's two types of people that can be in the corner. So at this point, the wife is the corner, and the boxing match is happening between the husband and the father, right? So as this boxing match is going on, we can say the father's going to win because the father's got everything. The father's in control. The father's going to win. The husband wins if the husband doesn't stop fighting. As long as they keep going through the process. And by fighting, I don't mean fighting back. I mean fighting to stay in it. Staying in the fight. As you stay in the fight and you go through the process, what happens is the person that's a bystander has to make a decision. They have to decide if they're going to support you through this beating or if they're going to throw in the towel. And sometimes when we're trying to develop ourselves and we're growing ourselves, we'll hear things like this. Just stay on the job. You're about to retire anyway. That's throwing in the towel. We'll hear things like, hey, it's all right. You'll get them next time. You did good enough. You're doing enough. You're doing the most. Nobody else is doing that much. That's throwing in the towel. You'll hear things like, why are you even getting up that early? When do you sleep? Aren't you tired? That's throwing in the towel. And sometimes we can find ourselves around individuals that mean well, but don't know how to support a fighter. Please hear me. When you're becoming your best version of yourself, Eric Thomas says it's a dog fight. And it's a beautiful one for fighters. And each of you that's on this call right now, you're a fighter. I know it. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. Like, I talk with a certain demeanor because I served 12 years in the military. So you can feel that never quit in my conversation. So if you're here watching this and you've been watching this, you've probably dealt with something in your childhood. You've probably dealt with something as an adult. You've probably survived a divorce. You've probably raised your kids on your own. You've probably bounced back from some form of abuse. You've probably bounced back from mental health. You're a fighter. And when you're a fighter, you gotta be in the right environment with the right corner. But when you do this right, that corner will show you where your wings are. They'll help you develop them. And we're getting ready to go to a break here. So before we come back, I want to just leave you with this. The lady said to my wife, have faith in them both. Meaning, have faith in the father's process and have faith in your husband's ability to withstand, to endure, and to become. So what am I saying to you? You are the husband in your life. You are the individual going up against the trials and tribulations necessary to make you who you need to be. And in your corner, you want to have individuals that have faith in you and individuals that have faith in the process. If you have that, ladies and gentlemen, you can be who you want to be. You can develop yourself however you need to develop. And what I always like to say before we go to the break is if you build something from nothing, you can build it into anything.
I said Shaan right east. I'm proud. I said Shaan right east. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Shaan, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold. in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Shaan's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Shaan is the bomb.
I don't talk theory. I don't talk hyperbole. I don't talk opinion. Nothing I talk is anything but evidence-based.
During the G Circle retreat in Atlanta, I had the pleasure and the honor of listening to Mr. Shaan Rais. He will not only impact your organization, but he will elevate your team to another level.
When you change you, when you put you into the equation, the whole system is different. I guarantee you, you got the right thing. You are the right person. If you can present yourself in the best way possible, there's no negotiation.
His energy is infectious, and I have so many takeaways from the presentation that I can't wait to get started and implement them today to see the result.
You see how I said I was excited this morning, bro? I said I was excited. I said I was excited. I meant it, guys. When I feel something, I feel something. Bobby just took you guys to church. Like Bobby just took you. Bobby's like the preacher's son. He just took you guys to church. I know it was spiritual. I know it was deep. I know there's probably some watery eyes. Listen, guys, this is what I want you to take away from this call. You have more than it takes. You have more than is required. There will be more left over when you're done. There will be more. You have more. Like what you've been through is not what you've been through. It's what's been given you. What you've been through is what's been given you. Those are resources. Oh, I don't think you understand. Like everything I go through in business, I laugh at. Everything I go through in business, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, the gains, the losses, the fights, the victories, the wins, the temporary defeats, I laugh at. Why? Because of what I've been through. You don't understand. Where you've come from is what will get you through. People look at the things that they've gone through as being negative. They're not. They're positive. This is how you become resilient. Oh, I guarantee you it's the thing that you're trying to hide the most. I was speaking with a phenomenal client, right? A lot of speaking events going on. I'm telling the client, I said, listen, you got to tell your story. You got to tell your story. You got to let them know your story. A lot of success. A lot of success. Client has a lot of success on the organizational side, moving into personal branding and the individual brand for the first time. I said, listen, you've been through this before. You've been here before. I'm a little nervous, Shaan. It's okay. You've been nervous before. Remember when parents move and you go to the school for the first time? You're a newcomer in the school. You're going into the 4th grade and they've been there all year and they might have grown up together and you're walking in the first time scared and nervous. It's okay. That's what I want to tell you. If you feel nervous, that's just letting you know that you're still alive. If you weren't nervous, then you wouldn't be alive, right? You wouldn't go up and down like an EKG machine. You're supposed to feel something. But that thing that you feel is an indication that you were meant to be here. That fear that you feel, Mike Tyson said, I feel fear every time before I fight. Every time before I fight, I feel fear. I'm scared. And then he goes and annihilates the competition. Quite literally. Quite literally. You have what it takes to dominate. You have what it takes not just to win and compete. You have what it takes to dominate. You have your wings. But this is the thing, Bobby. This is what I want the listeners to hear me for today. Like, you have your wings, but you'll never develop them, and you won't even know that they're there if you don't take the leap. If you don't apply the faith and jump, then you'll be walking. You'll be taking the slow road. You'll be walking when you could be flying. You were built to fly. You've got wings, but you're walking. You don't understand how beautiful it looks from up here. The aerial view, the aerial view is everything, but you walking, you're looking up instead of looking down. And when I say looking down, I don't mean that you're above people. I'm saying that you have the power. Listen, guys, listen to me very clearly. If you have the power to look down, that means you're above. And if you have the power to be above, then you have the power to raise other people up so they can be above too. Because if I didn't find out I could fly, then how could I tell Bobby he got wings? Hear me clearly. If I didn't know that I had wings because I took the leap 10 years ago, 15 years ago, how could I meet Bobby and say, hey, Bobby, I know you got the job, and I know you got the job security, and I know you got the wife, and I know you got the kids, but you know what else you got? Like, I don't know. I took a lot of hits in life, coach. I don't know what I got. You got wings, brother. You got wings. You got wings. That's what I want you to understand today on this call. You have wings. Make yourself known. Stop hiding and start helping people. Stop hiding and start helping people. And the best way you could help them is to be massively successful so they can see the example.
Man, what I heard that came to mind, and I'm always thinking business, but I'm gonna graze over this. I was like, man, Red Bull might send you a check. You have wings. I'm like, they gonna
oh yeah, you got wings, right?
You gonna send them a check. Oh my goodness. But this was my mind just went to advertising. But the other thing that my mind went to was stop hiding and start flying. That's what I heard in my mind. Stop hiding and start flying. And I want to tell like a very brief story about, how my coaches helped me. Those that have been following me for some time, you know who Shaan Rais is, you know who he is to me. So I just want to let you guys know how he got the place that he has. So on my mirror in my bathroom, I have my circle of influence and impact. So I call it lifelines. I learned this in the Marine Corps. They said you always want to have a lifeline. If you're dying, who do you call? If you are stranded, who do you call? If you are going through, who do you call? So I have my wife that I call for certain things. I've got Luan, my best friend, that I call for certain things. I've got my spiritual center. Then I've got my coach, right? And my coach is next to his name. It says Shaan Rais. And next to Shaan Rais, it says mental conditioning and business fitness and fortitude. Like anytime my mind is being rocked, my life is being shook, I'm mentally challenged, my business is suffering, that's my line. That's my lifeline. He's in my circle of influence. And he got there by being out on a big circle. And then he came in. So I wanted to share that with you because you might be in someone's outer circle. And the more you show up for them, and the more you be there for them, and the more you set an example for them, and the more you make what Stephen Covey calls deposits. So he says there's an emotional bank. You can make deposits and withdrawals. When you make continuous deposits into other people, when you need to call on them for a withdrawal, you will have the account balance. So when you're in the outer circle and you deposit into people and you deposit into people and you show up for people and you show up for people and you show up for people, there comes a time when it's time for you to make a withdrawal, and they will give you whatever you ask for. And they're oftentimes asking for a withdrawal less than the amount of deposits that they've made. So I just wanted to share that to say to you that, each one teach one. Lift them up. They say it's crowded at the top. They're lying. It's not. Like, there's plenty of space up here. Each one teach one. So that's how he became where he is in my life, because he made so many deposits into my life, and he got closer and closer into that inner circle, to the point where it was like, if I'm struggling with anything mentally, that's who I go to. Like, there's no one else that I'm turning to first. And it's because they have proven that they can help me in that area. So prove that you can help someone wherever you can help them. And when they call on you, be there. Be there.
Wow, that's huge, Bobby. I didn't know that, right? I didn't know that, guys. Listen, let me tell you something about what we do. It's evidence-based. It's confidence-driven. So we don't have to script. Like, we don't script anything. We don't go back and forth. Bobby gets the link like 5 minutes before if he's lucky. It might have been 2 minutes before today, right? That's just how we move. Like, we move on applied faith. We move on extreme confidence that whatever we say will be what you need to hear and what we need to say. And I promise you, when I get the inclination to say something else, I do. Right? It's not always what you thought you might hear. So based on what Bobby said, I'm gonna give you something, which is an opportunity. And I would just say to go to this page for yourself, right? Go to this page for yourself and just check it out, man. Just check it out, right? This is not a hard sell. This is not a hard sell. This is a hard tell. Not a hard sell. This is a hard tell. The way Bobby started to get the 400% revenue increase year after year after year is right there. Brandedlikealeader.com. We're not trying to sell you. We're trying to help you. Go look at the copy. Don't worry about the offer. Go look at the copy and see if it's what you've been looking for. See if it's what you need, because I guarantee you this. If you don't have the revenue, that's fine. If you do, make the best investment of your life. That's up to you. The point is this: what you need to have to go find your wings is on the page. That's the key. What you need to have to go find your wings is on the page, described in detail. It's what you need to do. It's an instruction manual. It's like a blueprint. This is what we try to provide you, the branding and business blueprint, so you can be successful in your life, not just your business, but in your life, because it doesn't make a difference if you're successful in your business if you're not successful in your life. Before I was a business coach, I was a life coach, guys. Just so we're clear, like, my first initiation was life coach, life strategist. Before I became a business coach, I was a life coach. So I blend the two. I don't believe that you can be successful in business without being successful in your life. And I believe that if you are successful in your life, then it's your business to help someone else be successful in theirs. And that's why I say a 7 can teach a 6 and a 5 can teach a 4. Just go check out the copy. That's all I urge you to do. Just go check out the copy. See if you like what you see. See if it makes sense. Because I guarantee you, it not just makes sense, it makes dollars. It adds zeros to your life and your business. Bobby, I'm gonna thank you this morning for being so transparent. I greatly appreciate it. Transparency, vulnerability is good. I am always honored, privileged, and it's a duty and an obligation for me to serve to the highest degree possible. And that might be why I'm still in college to this day. Right. And why I just keep writing the books and just keep doing the work. As a matter of fact, I got a call to get to right now. Listen, guys, work goes on. Life goes on. Get to work. Get to business. Be successful. Let's grow. You have wings. Make yourself known. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Let's grow.